Hey guys, in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the makeup brand Florasis, and you may or may not know that this brand produces exquisite looking makeup, but is it actually any good? If you are interested to find out, then please do keep on watching. So you may or may not be familiar with the brand Florasis, but I can guarantee that some of you will recognise them as the most beautiful brand in the world. Florasis did reach out to me and they offered to send me out some of their products. So this is absolutely not a sponsored video. They have just sent me some of their products in PR. I actually received these products back in February and I didn't want to do a first impressions. I wanted to actually try out these products because these are, I would say, more of a luxury item. They're higher priced. I needed to get a feel for them to see whether they are actually good or not and then share my honest opinion with you. So Florasis sent me some of their brand new Nomadic Glam collection. I wanted to get this video up now, just before Mother's Day. I know Mother's Day is coming up in May. I know people will be looking for gifting options, and I think there are some things in here that would make incredible gifts. Receiving this makeup and using this makeup is a whole experience. I was so interested in trying this brand because I think we live in an age where, we're duping every single high-end product, and I don't mind that. I love a good dupe. I absolutely do. And I love affordable makeup. I love luxury makeup. But this is different. It's really, really unique. It's not like anything else that's out there that I've ever tried. So I did do a little bit of reading into what the Nomadic Glam collection was all about. And I read that the collection honours the nomadic lifestyle of the ethnic Mongolian culture, emphasising the richness of nature and heritage craftsmanship. Each item is covered in vegan leather and adorned with artwork inspired by the traditional Ulzi pattern, symbolising knowledge, wealth, happiness and good karma. And I don't know about you, but I could do with a little bit of all of those. Let's start off with this absolutely stunning palette. So here is the packaging, and oh my goodness, it is just absolutely stunning. Now, I have used this. Honestly, it was a bit traumatic using it because I really did not want to affect the actual embossing. I am the type of person that goes into a restaurant, and if they serve me a dish that looks super, super pretty, I'm going to struggle to eat that because I don't want to ruin it. That's the person that I am. So when I see these makeup palettes by Florasis and I see all the amazing, beautiful embossing, I think to myself, that is too good to use. What I will say is that the embossing, sometimes when you use something that's embossed, for example, a recent YSL palette that I bought, as soon as I dipped into it, the embossing was gone. But with this, it actually doesn't disappear when you dip your brush in. So this is the Into the Wild palette, which includes gold, glittery green and neutral tones. Each eyeshadow is embossed with the ornate 3D carvings that recall the Chinese art of engraving. I already have a base on today, so I just popped some foundation and concealer on. Everything that I use will be linked in the description box below. And when I saw the bluey kind of green down here, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to use that? Because I don't really use a lot of colour, especially darker colours on the lid, because I like to use lighter colours on the lid because I have deep set eyes. So if I use lighter colours, it kind of brings my eyes out a bit. But actually, if I just show you, can you see the reflection? I will probably try and incorporate some of that into the look somewhere. So I'm actually going to start up here, which is called Rich Earth. This doesn't show up massively on my skin tone, but it's great just to use as a base. So I'm actually just going to take that all over the lid. I'm actually going to go in to this gorgeous colour, and I'm just going in with my BK Beauty 201 brush, and I'm just going to take this as a little bit of a transition. And these really do blend beautifully. They're not powdery. You don't have to work very hard to blend them. In fact, they actually remind me of, they're very similar to the Nars formula. That literally took me a matter of seconds to do. So I think then I'm actually going to go in with this colour here. I just love the gold tones on here. And I've definitely found that going in with my finger in relation to these shimmers, so if I just swatch it there for you, and you see that lovely reflection, it's just gorgeous. So I'm going to actually take that over the lid. I do want to go into this shade here, this darkest brown, and you really get no kick up in the pan, which is so nice. I'm just going to just deepen it a little bit, and this is with my BK Beauty 211. And one thing I have to say that I am excited at the size of this palette. It's so compact and so lightweight, and it's going to be amazing for traveling with. The shimmers in this just stay put as soon as they're on your lid, and usually if I was doing a little bit of a darker shade after a shimmer, they would start to bleed into one another, but I don't get that with this palette at all. And although these are pigmented, they are not overly pigmented, so it gives you the ability to build up the mattes, especially because there's absolutely nothing worse than going in with a matte shade and having put too much on, or it just looks too heavy and you just can't rescue it. I'm gonna put this shimmer on this eye. And I would actually describe these as very soft shimmers. I'm just going to dip back into the middle colour. And I'm just going to go over the edges. I totally love those colours. I really do. Believe it or not, this is one of my favourite shades in the pan. I like to just pop this just in the middle. And it is the most perfect inner corner shade. Just to give it a little bit of dimension. Just going to take that shade again, the lightest shade, and I'm just going to pop it on the inner corner. As I said, when I first saw the palette and I saw the bluey green and I just didn't see any other colour, and I did freak out a bit because, look, I am definitely into more natural makeup, more wearable makeup. I mean, I wish I was into colour a bit more, but it's not really me. So to find that the rest of the palette actually is such a wearable palette, the colours are perfect for every day. Just going in with the darkest shade and just taking it on the lash line a bit. And just to find that it is so wearable and so usable, it's actually a great palette. So I'm just going to take a Zoeva smudger brush and I'm actually going to dip in to that beautiful bluey green, and you can, I don't know if you can see it, it's quite glittery. So I think because it's quite glittery, I'm actually going to spray it because I don't want it falling all over on the lower lash line. With the kind of bluey green, you do get a little bit of fallout there. Probably works best just to kind of stamp it on. Okay, I'm going to just go and pop a little bit of mascara on, and then I will show you the complexion products that I have. I was probably the most excited to try this next item, and I've been absolutely loving this. So this is, again, the same nomadic packaging, absolutely stunning. And this is the Florasis Peony Dream Cream Blush. And this is in the shade Morning Rays, which is a beautiful pink. I'm a real fan of this. This is probably one of my favourite products from the brand that they've sent me. I'm just going to dip in with my Refa 4 brush. And let me tell you about this blush. So although it does go on cream and you can feel the cream formula, it definitely sets down to a powder finish. And I love this shade so much. This blush is very flattering, especially on more mature skin. It's not dewy. It's not going to be a glowy blush. Now, I love a glowy blush, but for those people who like cream products, but they don't want that glow, this is an absolutely perfect option for you. You get the pigment, you got a high level of coverage with the blush there, but it definitely dries down to a powder finish. And I've been really enjoying this. That's the blush. Isn't that super pretty? And again, teeny tiny, so great for travel. I'll pop the prices on the screen for all of these products, but I do know that they do have quite a few offers on their website at the moment, and you can get these products in sets, which will save you money buying individually. So there we go, there's the blush. So no super glow, it's just really natural looking. I love the blush so much. Now, they did send me a couple of powders. Now, I'm not the biggest powder user on the planet, but I've definitely been enjoying one more than the other. So they sent me this, which is the Flawless Jade Breathable Pressed Powder. And this is very translucent, and I've actually been really enjoying this under my eyes. Now, it's not going to take over from my Huda Beauty or my Givenchy, because I just do prefer a loose powder under my eyes. Now, they did send a pressed powder puff, but I've not opened it because I'm just not the biggest fan of powder puffs. They distribute too much product under my eyes. I have to go really minimally under my mature eyes. So I just prefer to go in with an angled eyeshadow brush. So I'm going to take this and tap it off, and I'm just going to press it under my eyes. It's so fine, this powder, and it's kind of barely there. It's super lightweight, as you can see there. It's done a really nice job of setting my under eyes. It's just my personal preference to prefer loose powder, especially under my eyes, but it has given me a decent amount of coverage under my eyes, as well as setting my concealer. As you can see, my under eye hollows are not as visible now that I've set and mattified it with the powder. Now, this is the one that I have been using on a regular basis, and this is the Yurong Airbrushed Tinted Pressed Powder. This came with a powder puff. I did try it with the powder puff, but again, I just find the application too heavy with a powder puff, so I'm not going to use that. But this tinted powder, I've been loving around my nose area. So on my nose area, I have broken capillaries, very annoying. The bane of my life. So I'm just going to pop some Nars concealer. I generally always use the Nars Soft Matte Concealer around my nose area. Concealer does an amazing job at hiding those thread veins around my nose, but this powder, so good. I do find that when I use a loose powder or any powder really around my nose, it will make my pores a little bit more visible, but this one I have been using on a regular basis because I just find that it smooths out my nose area. I just tap the powder onto the nose and it mattifies and sets that concealer. See how nicely that's done that? I think this might be my new favourite powder for my nose area, because if you've been here before, you'll know that is a really problematic area for me. It's not heavy, it's super lightweight. Just picking up a powder brush here. I think this is an e.l.f. one. I'm just going to take the shine away on my forehead. We're coming up to the summer now. I'm definitely going to need a bit more powdering than usual, and I would imagine that this is going to be my new go-to. Although the packaging is quite compact on most things, this is a little bit on the bigger side, a little bit more bulky. It's kind of blurred my pores and it's taken away the shine so well, and it lasts all day. Definitely helps to control that sebum production that I have around my nose. The bane of my life. And just to come back to my complexion, to my blush, I think what you can see here is, even though the blush is not a glowy blush, it's not dewy, it's still allowing my base to come through. So I used the Haus foundation today, which is a little bit more on the glowy side, and I think you can see that really nicely through the blush, so it still allows for your base to come through and to shine through, which is really important for me. I don't like a matte complexion, so yeah, I think that looks really nice. I'm really happy with how that makeup looks. I'm going to finish up now with one of my other favourite products from this collection, and this is the Blooming Rouge Ultra Smooth Satin Liquid Lipstick. Let me just swatch it on the back of my hand for you. This is like pure velvet. It's quite warm toned, so it's described as a pale peachy pink, and I would definitely agree with that. I'd say there are some really beautiful red undertones to this lipstick, and if you think that liquid lipsticks are not your thing, you need to try something like this. This is literally like air. It's like velvet. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it stays put and stays on all day. It is not drying on the lips at all. There are a lot of liquid lipsticks out there that will dry your lips out straight away, but this is so silky smooth and it just stays looking lovely. So this is the lipstick. It's so comfortable, honestly. It is like your lips, but better. Every time I've worn this liquid lipstick, I have had compliments on my lip colour. Sometimes I find that it is an absolute minefield when you are an olive skin tone to try and find a lipstick that doesn't just pull super pink. But this is just such a classic and sophisticated colour that you can use it in the day, you can use it in the evening, and I think just this makeup look in general, I think it's a great everyday look. You can wear it to work, you can wear it down for drinks, you can wear it to the restaurant, you could wear it out on an evening. It really is so versatile. But if I was to choose some of my favourites from this collection, I would definitely say the liquid lipstick. I've been wearing this non-stop. I love the fact that it's a liquid lipstick, but it's not drying. It's smooth and velvety and silky. Obviously that is dry now and it's not emphasising any lines on my lips. It just looks really lovely. I love it. And the cream blush, stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. I love that it has the pigment. I love that it sets down, but it allows your natural radiance, the natural radiance of your products underneath to shine through. I really adore that. The tinted powder has definitely become my go-to, especially around my nose area, because it does not emphasize pores. It's very blurring and it has a good amount of coverage. It's a really gorgeous product and lasts all day. And then obviously the eyeshadow palette, absolutely lovely. And for me, a bit of a colour phobe, you know, obviously you've got a little bit of colour down here, but the rest of it, you know, a beautiful palette with earthy tones, which is very multi-use. If you love those everyday earthy tone shades, I think you would really enjoy something like this. I think their colours are really cohesive and I just love the story behind it. And now that I've shown it to you, I can dive head in and not have to worry about the embossing going. So there we are, a little look into Florasis and some of their incredible products. I really do think that if you are bored of generic makeup, of makeup that just all looks the same and are all clones of one another, I think that you would really like this brand. It is a whole experience. From the moment that you receive it, honestly, I didn't even show you some of the packaging. For example, they all come in packaging like this. It's not your run-of-the-mill makeup that you find on every shelf in every store. You are really paying for that whole experience of something that is so aesthetically pleasing, that has meaning to it, that has meaning behind each of their products. And I just find that so refreshing, especially in this day and age when everything is so mass produced. And I think they would make an absolutely perfect gift for that loved one in your life, whether it's for Mother's Day coming up or a birthday gift, or just to acknowledge somebody, you know, and their passion for makeup. I can't imagine that there would be a makeup lover that exists that would not appreciate the products that Florasis creates. They really are incredible. So do let me know, what do you think of the products that I've used today? Have you tried any of their products? Do let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.